How's it going, guys? Well, welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to Muv-Luv Mondays. And today we are going to be starting with probably what I'm most excited about for this extra side and the end of the extra spectrum for a little while. We're going to be jumping into the Meiya side stories. There's 2 of them. So how many episodes is going to be? At least 2, I'm guessing. But it depends on how long they are. But considering like the before the cherry blossoms bloom, like obviously that was a bit of a big chunk. But I'm gonna guess that we're gonna probably have at least 1 episode for each of these. I can't imagine him not having a good amount of material to go over with Meiya. So we're gonna go right into that. And then we're jumping into the alternative stuff, which will be, great. It'll be great. Not depressing at all. Yeah, we're gonna have fun with that one. So yeah, I guess there's nothing else to say. Just happy to see you here. Thank you for joining me on the channel. As always, if you want more Muv-Luv content, we got more coming. I mean, good grief, there's so much more. We got the most recent release that's come out. We have the day after, which will be coming out sometime in the near future. And plus, there's all the juicy new Muv-Luv type of content we're gonna probably at least do a featurette of. I don't know if I'll play through all the way. It depends on does the mobile game even make sense to try and put on the channel at all? I doubt it. And then there's going to be the computer-based one, which I am guessing I'm probably going to just show a little bit of, but it just depends on how story-rich it is and if it just makes sense or not. I know I'll play it, and I'll probably talk about it, but we'll see. Anyway, that's enough about future stuff. We came here for now, so let's start learning to love. Ah, Meiya. It has been too long since we've read a story with you. Oh, my heart. She was the best. She is the best. Is the best. Okay, let's dive right in, shall we? In this book, we'll be giving a comprehensive overview on how to properly engage in romantic relations as both a member and a representative of the Mitsurugi family. Oh, lovely. So this is like a book she's reading about how to fall in love. By following these simple precepts, you will not only be able to determine the appropriate course of action in a given situation, but also be more effective in courting your intended mate. Let us start by outlining the most basic of seduction tactics. Oh, Meiya. Oh, Meiya. The Tsukuyomi Method, a relationship survival guide. Oh no, that's the problem. I was wondering why she foisted this book upon me as I was walking out the door. Perceptive as ever, Tsukuyomi. She must have known, then, that my heart has been wavering as of late. My grandfather has directed that it's time for me to return to Japan. Now more than ever, I must be steadfast in my resolve, and yet I struggle. Well, no, it's not so much that my determination has waned. I simply feel a bit anxious, I suppose, at the thought of finally returning to my beloved's side. I'm not sure how to explain it. There's this tightness in my chest, and I haven't been able to relax in days. Yeah, I know, girl, I know. For her to pick up on that and even to put together a self-help book like this as her master, I should be ashamed. However, where is she? Europe? For now, I must say goodbye to the city that has been my home these past 2 years. I may have never explored it beyond my daily commute from the mansion to the university, but I insisted that they at least let me walk myself to the station once before I go. Wait a second. She isn't any older, right? So she's just smart and was able to go to the university? I can't remember, because she's high school age. So am I just blanking on this? It's been a while. Interesting.
Yeah, ダメだ.
I should not have opened it yet. There will be plenty of time to read on the flight home. Are you thinking of throwing it? I can't help myself, I'm too intrigued. I must see what wisdom lies upon the next page. Tsukuyomi was right, this is indeed the critical factor I was missing. It's just like the Game Boy again. Though I'm loath to admit it, I haven't the slightest clue when it comes to the inner workings of romance. And yet right here, within these pages, all of its secrets have been laid bare. I recognize that I'm simply trying to justify my behavior, and yet... To think a master of the Mugen Kido technique would be bested by a simple pamphlet. Love truly is a fearsome thing. Oh, I love her. These are the fundamentals of male-female interactions. In the next chapter, we will be discussing some potential obstacles that may require more resourceful strategies. Chapter 2, Pursuing a Bachelor, Common Obstacles and How to Address Them. Number 1, the most dangerous obstacle of all, rival suitors. As Sun Tzu once said, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. Even in the realm of love, knowing your opponents and their weaknesses in particular is one of the surest ways to give yourself a competitive edge. I see. So to partake in romantic endeavors, you must be prepared to stave off any assailant who might get in your way. It truly is akin to war then. Fascinating. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare for future editor me, I'm sure. Of all the potential rivals you are likely to encounter, the most common and by far is the unassuming girl next door. Make no mistake, however, these will often be your most ferocious competitors. I've found that that's not quite true to form in life, but you know, it's great for anime stuff. There is a fair bit of diversity with this group. Some of the many different varieties include the soft-spoken, bookish type, the sundress-wearing sweetheart, the roughhousing tomboy, and the all-in-one bombshell honor student. Alright, so Samika is some kind of fusion of the sundress-wearing sweetheart and roughhousing tomboy. In the interest of caution, please consider any long-term friends of the opposite sex to be a ticking time bomb, viable to join the fray at any moment. Okay, this was wisdom, it's true. In many cases, the target bachelor takes their relationship for granted and has little to no awareness of the deeper emotions at play. The deciding factor here will be your ability to seal the deal before he even has a chance to recognize those feelings. Should this ever come to pass, the girl next door will become a fearsome opponent indeed, due to her advantage in both general proximity to the target, as well as their storied history together. Though this may seem to contradict the Mitsurugi tenet of fair play, time has shown again and again that when it comes to love, it is far better to let sleeping dogs lie, and all is fair in love and war. Next, we have the daddy's little girl. These suitors prey upon the bachelor's empathy and fraternal instinct. Their most identifiable feature is their childlike appearance, which often belies their true age. They're extremely effective against bachelors who are into that sort of thing, and their individual personalities have far more nuance than one might think, so this is the Tama warning. Like pets, they can be meek and therapeutic, or klutzy and playful, though perhaps most common of all is the doting, innocent little sister type. Not that any of these traits can be mixed and matched as they frequently are. They tend to be mentally immature as well, as evidenced by their peculiar childish speaking patterns. Be especially careful of the ones who employ nonsensical verbal tics not seen in any existing dialect. I can't remember if Tama must do that, because I'm sure it's like a nail in the head hit again, but I can't remember. I couldn't help but think of Mayuri, that doo-doo-doo, you know, that's what I immediately thought of. It helps that I'm like watching Steins Gate with my wife, she's never seen it before. And we got through like the first part, she was like, okay, it's kind of interesting, and then we started doing the time leaping, and oh, now we watch like 4 episodes a night. Should the bachelor fall for their unique charms even once, it is unlikely he will ever express any interest in any other kind of women again. On the other end of the spectrum, however, we find the antithesis to all the personality types, the little witch variant. Oh no. To use an example you would be familiar with, Meiya-sama, this is the category under which we would file the young heiress to the Daikuji group. Moving on, we have the authoritarian, strong and virtuous. These girls lure in their prey by showing just the slightest hint of vulnerability. Makoto from Persona 5, also known as the class representative type, class rep, for their extremely high propensity to occupy such leadership positions. The Mitsurugi Cultural Encyclopedia, Volume 72. How many references are there? Very assertive, invariably wears glasses. The two main subcategories here are the valedictorian, which specializes exclusively in academics, and the jack of all trades, which excels in athletics as well. That's there, jack of all trades for her. The latter tends also to be quite a compassionate, which seems to indicate that they employ perfectionism in their interpersonal relationships as well. You know what, I need to take notes of this, because if I ever want to write something that's very akin with these types of tropes, this is actually a really good summary of the tropes. And then the best thing to do is to have the tropes that people can recognize and empathize with, and then subvert them as often as reasonable within the realm of the story to help them become more fleshed out in human characters. However, this brings with it the unwillingness to go with the flow and an intense obsession with cleanliness, which means they have a hard time getting along with deadbeats and couch potatoes. Luckily for us, this means they tend to ostracize themselves from the most of the men in their lives, but be warned. If for whatever reason the target bachelor catches a glimpse of that vulnerability I mentioned above, you'll have an extremely difficult time reclaiming his attention. Next on our list is the most peculiar, but also the most unpredictable, the black sheep. Okay, I'm going to also deviate here because I got to point out something here too. It's also a little insidious because in a way it's also kind of describing the player and the route you found the most intriguing the first time you played through the game. Like, who did you fall for? Who were you most captivated by? You may not have gotten their ending right away, but who was the person that you played through extra and like at the end of your first playthrough you said, I wonder if I could end up with so-and-so, you know? If it wasn't the person you ended up with. And if that's the case, like, what is this saying about you? Does it seem to echo true for you? Because unfortunately for me, it was Meiya, and it's not describing Meiya. So I'm not sure which of these would be the most like, because I talked about how like, oh, if so-and-so bachelor notices this or is drawn in by this, that's usually what's the hook. It's like, did you guys find that that's the case? I know a couple of the vocal ones that I've been talking with on the Discord page, you brought up how you've been big fans of class rep or Yamane. So like, so far has it been describing that correctly? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this kind of analysis. Alright, anyway. Typical varieties include the women of few words, the holier than thou, the ditzy daydreamer, and the shock humorist. All of these operate more in impulse than logic, which can sometimes capture a man's attention even if they had no intention of doing so. So Ayamane is like all of these. Few words, holier than thou, nah, but she's definitely the ditzy daydreamer, shock humorist. The ditzier varieties in particular give off a fearsome mystique that can exert a powerful influence on a man without either of them realizing it. Because their peers have been predisposed to expect a certain eccentricity from them, and any show of normalcy or genuine emotion will be exponentially more compelling than what the average person could do. As with the authoritarian, you must remain ever vigilant and take extreme care to not allow the target bachelor to be in the same room when this occurs. Right. Furthermore, because reason and logic do not apply to the actions of the black sheep, there is no way to predict what might cause them to develop feelings for the target bachelor. Always be on the lookout for even the most subtle of warning signs. And finally, we have one special mention, the forbidden fruit. This refers to the androgynous male whose personality aligns well with the bachelor's. Within the broader framework, this typically coincides with the best friend category, and like the girl next door, he is extremely close to the bachelor in question. Being male, he would understandably not be considered a threat under normal circumstances. However, well, granted, assuming everyone's very standard, well not standard, but very predictable, straight attraction methods. I mean, you never know. Like, there could be all kinds of curveballs going on here. However, the simple fact that he is the same gender does not necessarily preclude him from having romantic feelings for the target bachelor. And we must not hold that against him. Many of these types possess an innate ability to attract members of both sexes. It may take quite a bit to convince the target bachelor to cross that line, but once he does, he'll find himself trapped for life within the endless labyrinth of love, one that makes even the daddy's little girl addicts look damn churish. Dang. Once he had a taste for the forbidden fruit, there will be no turning back. What a great summary, Meiya. This is so much diversity in the world. It really does take all kinds. Incredible. It appears I still have much to learn. The breadth of the Tsukuyomi's wisdom never ceases to amaze me. However, should any saboteurs dare to stand in my way, I can simply dispatch them outright. There's no need for underhanded tactics. Furthermore, I do not understand why an entire chapter is spent discussing these peons when the true opponent I must conquer lies elsewhere. I appreciate your concern, Tsukuyomi, but I don't believe I'll be coming back to this section.
さて、続きは
Chapter 3, The Dawn of Romance. Common incidents and how to respond. Oh, now this is more like it. Is this whole, like, story? Are we just gonna be looking at, like, Meiya's dating advice? I have a good feeling about this chapter. Let's see. Example 22, being walked in on. You have just noticed that your desired bachelor has witnessed you in the process of changing clothes. In this situation, you should respond in accordance with the severity of his transgression. If he's burst in onto your room without knocking, see page 113. So the answers are on different pages then.
どれどれ
Alright. Example 22, correct response. Let out a shriek while making a superficial attempt to cover up. Wait just long enough for your face to turn red and your eyes to tear up, then throw any small object in your immediate vicinity at them as hard as you can. Interesting. I like how it's being so, like, it's so weird having it explained like this. Explanation. We concluded a double-blind study to measure both the eye movements and the brain activity of a sample group of 2,000 bachelors under identical conditions and determined this to be the most effective course of action. At first, the bachelor's gaze will be drawn to your privates, which are exposed in this case. Then, by scrambling to cover them with your hands, you will entice him to look even harder. You must not completely cover them up, however. Unless you're on Steam, which means you have to. At this point, by letting out a defenseless squeal, you will not only arouse the bachelor, but also stimulate a sense of guilt. This will leave him in a very conflicted mental state. I don't like how clinically that's probably true, and I'm definitely disturbed by it being a tactic, assuming he's not a sociopath. Reason will win out here, and he will return to his senses. At this point, you will be able to see the guilt on the bachelor's face, and you must attempt to gauge the magnitude of his remorse. It is absolutely crucial that you let him see the shame and outrage in your watery eyes, as well as the genuine embarrassment in your flesh-red face, not the entire face, however. Aim for just the area of your cheeks between your eyes and mouth. You can't control your blushing, as these will leave a powerful impression on him in his conflicted mental state. To make this even more effective, it is imperative to throw at least one nearby object at the perpetrator, for example, an alarm clock or a softball. Ouch. If you are able to knock the bachelor out with this, the encounter will no doubt be forever ingrained in his memory. A severe injury should suffice in most cases. The lasting effects of this is twofold. First, you are diffusing any residual awkwardness of the situation by letting him think he has received his due punishment. Second, he will be less thinking of you as something which he cannot easily obtain. Depressing how effective that action can be. Exercise this practice, letting out a defenseless, heart-wrenching squeal. Try it now. Yeah! Oh, my voice acting leaves a lot to be desired. Is this how the common folk express their love? It seems rather convoluted. So much of this reads as counterintuitive. Well, to be fair, the perception is likely just a product of my own sheltered lifestyle. Of course, I'll need to adapt a bit, having been detached from the outside world for so long. When in Rome, as they say.
事例22応用
What
湯殿において
is happening in the background? There's police. There's like gas. Is she gonna walk past like a murder scene and not even notice? Alright, and while in the bath. I assume it expects us to throw the wash tub this time. Immediately grab a nearby wash tub and throw it in such a throw it such that the base or the rim of the tub makes a direct contact with the bachelor's face. It's rather specific. I imagine a throw like that would take quite a bit of practice. In this case, the ideal scream is often one that can visibly shake the foundation of the building, because that's real. The empirical data shows that for the average commoner, the scream's output volume and the force of the initial throw should be directly proportional to the amount of skin exposed. It takes a considerable amount of energy to shake an entire building, no doubt. It would be something akin to an earthquake of, say, magnitude 1.5 to 2.5? Even if we split the difference to say 2.0, my rough calculations, that would still require something on the order of 10 million joules. To exert that kind of energy via simple acoustic vibration, you'd have to... No, it's simply not possible with the human vocal cords. The life of the everyman seems to be far more exciting and strenuous than I'd originally thought. I guess another thing we should remember, like, this is all satirical and takes place in anime land, so... Obviously, like, it's realistic for this situation, this universe, but definitely not ours. It's sad I'm saying that, but, like, I have to make sure I'm not trying to appropriate it too much to my real life and real life experiences, or else I'm going to completely miss the point. But I will master these skills, I swear. If love is a battlefield, then I cannot bring shame to the Mitsurugi family name. Nor to myself, for that matter.
Oi, kimi! Socha!
Yeah, okay, what's going on?
それにしても第3章は随分と長
What
い
is
な
happening on the sidewalk? For applications, the accidental finger graze. Applications, the wind-blown skirt fiasco. The corner-turned head bonk. The unexpected weekend encounter downtown. It's almost as if every occurrence in the commoner's life is unpredictable. The fight of the brushing hand one is real. With as much happening on a day-to-day basis, how can one find even the slightest moment to respite? The simplest act of living seems like a career in itself.
危険です近づかないでください
What is going on? It certainly is loud out here today, though. I finally get some time to myself and I can hardly even focus.
ほう巻末に書かれているのは帰国後の予定か
Step 1, the first impression is key. A step-by-step outline of how to make an initial wooing phase go smoothly. Tsukiyomi, the depth of your consideration brings a tear to my eye.
何何？
全員配置完了しました。あとは犯人の出方次第。って、おい。
It's like a robbery or something.
まず、殿方の寝所に忍び込み。
So this is why she did it.
君、止まりなさい。
なるほど。
Never would have thought of that. Total ambush. What better way to make a lasting first impression? Oh, yeah.
止まれ！それ以上は危険だ！
実に詳細な行動予定だ。緻密さにおいて完璧と言えよう。
With this much guidance, anyone should be able to succeed. I have no excuse to fail.
おい！誰かあいつを止めろ！
All that's left is to convince my grandfather, I suppose. Fetch.
ここはどこだ？
Was I a bit too absorbed in my reading? Just a touch. Well, no matter. It's not as though I'm running late. Let's continue. Are you serious?
止まれ
Someone's been getting flagged down for quite a while now.
止まれって言ってるだろ
Whoever they are, it sounds like they need to pay better attention to their surroundings. Oh my gosh. Like, what is even gonna happen here? It's gonna be great.
おい、聞こえないのか止まれと言ってるだろ
そなた、もしや私に話しかけているのか？
当たり前だ他に誰がいるんだよ
そうか、許すがよい。無作法な話で恐縮だが、読書に夢中になってしまっていた。
This poor bank girl is just like, what's happening?
なんだてめえ新手の交渉役か
交渉役？何の話だ？
は周りを見てみろ
She's like, Don't look at me! It appears to be some kind of storefront, but with a rather hushed atmosphere. Not only is there very little activity, but the receptionist seems extremely arrogant about keeping it that way. Do they truly expect to make a sale with that attitude? Could this be one of those businesses that values tranquility above all else?
このような店があるとは恐れ入った。
Oh man, this is a bit ridiculous for you. I mean, I know you're naive, but fetch. Like, you should know what a gun looks like.
何
ここは生をめでる店なのであろう？
は何言ってやがる
What the heck?
それにしては生を楽しむ工夫が全く凝らされていない。いかに枯山水が日本独自のものとはいえ、そのような無粋な調度品では。
何わけのわからねえこと言ってやがんだよ
Who knows, man?
やはりわからぬか。よいか？日本にはわびさびという観念があり。
いい加減にしろよてめえ
先ほどからどうも話が噛み合っていないようだな。
噛み合ってないのはてめえの方だろ
ならばこの場所は何なのだ？
バカにしてやがるのか
Yeah.
許すがよい。私はこのような場所に来るのは初めてなのだ。
見てわからねえのかよここは銀行だよ
I like how they're still actually just talking to her. Like, they haven't grabbed her or anything. They're just like talking.
ほう、銀行か。銀行なら知っているぞ。
何なんだ
そちらのご婦人は？
She seems rather pale. Has she come down with something?
人質だ見りゃわかんだろうが
人質？
なんだよこいつは
I don't know, man, but isn't it just awesome?
いや待て。私とて人質の意味ぐらいは知っているぞ。
If I recall, it refers to the use of another human being for security purposes, sometimes sent from one party to another as a show of good faith. Okay, just what kind of business are you involved in?
なるほど。銀行だけに担保か。 確かに西欧では18世紀頃まで国際条約実施の保障に人質をやり取りする習慣があったそうだが、
This might be the most
ま
amazing
だその
thing
よう
I've
な
ever
伝統
seen.
を守っているとは。
What the heck?
おいおい、このお姉ちゃんネジ飛んでんじゃねえのか？どうにかしろよ。
お前がどうにかしろ。
さすがは伝統を重んじる欧州のこと。国は違えどその志、尊敬の念を禁じえん。
Oh my gosh.
何が尊敬だ。こいつを人質にして立てこもってるんだよ。
人質を取って立てこもっている？どこか犯罪的な趣を感じるのだが。
Oh man. How? I did not realize it was this bad.
どこがじゃねえ。犯罪だ。銀行強盗だよ。銀行強盗。
He's like trying to be. He's like trying to like. Why are they so intent on making sure she understands?
なんと
Pipe, who says that?
なんだ？
I can't believe I've already encountered such a dire situation. Are the lies of the common folk truly this dramatic? No wonder I found the mating habit so perplexing.
私はなんと恵まれているのだろうか。
What?
何が？
What?
銀行強盗なる貴重な事例をこの目で見ることになろうとは。このような経験をせし者、三剣の中でもそうそうおるまい。
Do you live on the moon? Because I can't fathom a reason why you wouldn't have lived. Like, do they just not watch television?
なんで嬉しそうなんだよこいつは。
ところでそちらのご婦人だが、顔色がひどく悪いぞ。震えているが寒いのだろうか。
殺されるかもしれない状況なんだぞ。みんなこうなるに決まってんだろ。
殺生とはまた穏やかではないな。してそなたたちはそちらのご婦人を殺めようとする輩から守っているというわけか。
What the?
んなわけねえだろ。大体誰だよその輩ってのは。
That's what you have wrong with what she just said? That she's calling you hoodlums?
知らん。そなたたちにもわからんのか。
Okay, okay, what?
ああ、ちげえよ。俺たちが銀行強盗。
They are losing it. They're losing it.
こいつがもたもたしているから逃げ遅れて包囲されちまったんだよ。
なるほど。ようやく状況がつかめた。初めからそう説明すればよいもの。
I'm not even going to get. We're just gonna move forward.
初めからそう言ってるだろ。どうにかしろよ。
俺に振るな。
しかし
まだなんかあるのか。
そちらのご婦人、本当に顔色が悪いぞ。早々に医者に見せるべきであろう。
If you talk them down somehow, like maybe she's just going to frustrate them to the point where they just give up.
できるかっての。人質を解放しちまったら俺たちが危険なんだよ。
危険？それは確かに困るやもしれぬな。
こいつ大丈夫かよ。
うん。では、その人質というもの、私にできないであろうか。
Now that's an interesting idea and one I kind of. Meiya, you're bold.
は？
幸運にも銀行強盗に会えたのだ。この際、人質というものを経験するのも悪くなかろう。
ここに来た時点でお前はとっくに人質なんだよ。
Fair point, that.
何？安心するがよい。人質の経験こそないが、男女交際以外であれば人並み以上にこなせるようしつけられている。
She sounds utterly mad.
男女交際って
必ずやそなたらの期待に応えてみせよう。人質とは相手と交渉するために必要なものであろう。それになるために必要な資格などはなかったと記憶しているが。
そりゃそうかもしれねえが。
人質がいれば良いのであろう。
いいだろう。わかった。
Critical success!
おい、何 何言ってんだよ。
バカ野郎、俺らの目的を忘れんな。こんな事態を引き起こすためじゃなかっただろ。
だけどよ。
それに人質は一人いれば十分だろ。
わかったよ。
良いのだな。
ああ、その代わりこの女を解放するのはお前を縛ってからだ。
よかろう。面倒をかけるがよろしく頼むぞ。
Okay, okay. Just sure, we're just gonna let this happen.
ありがとうございます。このご恩は一生忘れません。
よい。貴重な経験をさせてもらえるのだ。そなたに感謝を。
No, let me thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be a hostage, because, you know... What on earth? What is this? Not quite sure what to do now. I should have asked Tsukuyomi to instruct me on a proper hostage etiquette. Wouldn't that be part of her education, considering how important she is?
いささかきつすぎる。緩めるがよいぞ。
人質が文句言うな。
文句はない。そなたの。
いいから黙ってろよ。
To be fair, I mean, these guys are in over their heads. I'm guessing this is the first time they've done something like this. They don't have the best of equipment, and they're in, like, kind of the worst position where, like, they're trapped, and the police have freedom to kind of encircle the building and make sure they can't get away. And they're not even sure what they're doing, so, like, it's a stressful situation for them.
なんだよ。だからなんだよ。
He seems slightly unnerved.
縄がきつすぎる。緩めるがよいぞ。
これがてめえの望んだ人質なんだ。我慢してろ。
わかった。それが作法であれば仕方あるまい。
Hopefully any marks or bruises go away before my first night.
いつまでそいつに構ってる。さっさと済ませろ。
なあ、こいつを人質にして本当に良かったのかな。
Wasn't it your idea?
バカ野郎、今さらグダグダ言うな。おい、行くぞ。
なあ、けどよ、こいつ絶対変だよ。人質の自覚ねえよ。
Only Meiya. Wiggle, wiggle. No, this is most definitely too tight. I don't mean to be insubordinate, but I'm gonna have to loosen them a bit. I wasn't expecting the barrier of entry to be quite this high.
そいつだって人質には変わらないだろ。
Trust me, you've got a great hostage, you don't even know it. Though you're also gonna call down, like, super SWAT on you.
で、警官の方は
完全に包囲されてる。特殊部隊投入も時間の問題だろう。
You wait till Tsukuyomi knows that Meiya's in here, you won't even know I hit you.
くそ、ついてねえぜ。せっかくいいとこまで行ってたのに。内通者からの情報じゃなかったのかよ。狂気。
そのはずだったんだ。
Curse you hand, I click too much.
最悪だ。来てみりゃ金庫はがっちり閉まっていて、肝心のあいつはいやしねえ。おまけに、外にはいつ突入してくるかわからない警官がうようよしている。最悪だよ。
Even with a hostage, I really don't see you guys getting out of this one. I think it'd be best for you just to surrender.
せめて、金庫の中身に手つけなきゃ割に合わねえ。なんとか開けさせようぜ。人質を盾に要求すりゃ。
そのことだがな。諦めようと思ってる。
I think he's got a point.
なんだと?
I mean, come on. I mean, whatever your motivation for coming here, this has worked. Like, even if you get your best case scenario at this point, you guys aren't gonna get away. Like, how could they even get away? Like, they could, like get in a car with her, drive away, saying they'll, like, leave her when they can escape. But, like, they're gonna follow you in choppers. There's no way they're not gonna try and pursue. And if you don't have a really clever way to get out of there, like a freaking submarine, you don't stand a chance. Not with this setup.
投降しよう。
は？
そもそも俺たちはこんなことができる器じゃなかったんだ。
Bank robber 1, you and me, we're on a page here.
おい、ちょっと待て。あのクソ野郎に一泡吹かせるんじゃなかったのかよ。 このままじゃ俺たちやられそうじゃねえか。
よく考えろ。時間が経てば特殊部隊が来るぞ。
They'll shoot to kill.
相手は教習専門の特殊部隊。俺たちは素人の寄せ集め。
そんな。
金庫が開いてなかった時点で俺たちは失敗していたんだよ。今回は諦めろ。
せっかくここまで来たんだぜ。なんかないのかよ。だったらせめてあの野郎をぶっ殺さなきゃ収まりがつかねえ。
仕方ないだろう。俺たちは奴に全てを奪われた。確かに殺したって足りないくらいだ。
I wonder who they're talking about.
本当にあいつ殺して俺たち満足か？疲れてるのはわかるが目的を忘れるな。俺たちの本当の目的は金じゃないし、奴の
あ
あ。Right.
あの野郎とこの銀行の信用を社会的に失墜させることだ。俺たちと同じ目に合わせることだ。
Interesting. Very interesting.
これだけの騒ぎを起こしたんだ。裁判になればマスコミも注目する。動機を証言するチャンスもある。
You're gonna go to prison, but you might have a chance to get things out in the open.
無理だよ。テレビや新聞はあいつらの御用聞きみたいなもんじゃないか。
やってみなきゃわからないだろう。とにかく投降しよう。死人が出てからじゃ遅すぎる。
わかった。
みんなもいいな。
ならん。
Are you serious?
なんだよ。っておい、縄はどうし。
バカ者。私のことなどどうでもよい。多少思い通りにことが運ばなかったからといって初子貫徹せずに諦めるとは何事か。
Okay. Let's just see how this goes. I've never been more flummoxed about a plot in my life.
情けないにも程がある。
You've never seen any criminals.
情けないだと？お前に俺たちの何がわかるんだ？
わからん。だが、そなたたちが意志の弱い人間であることは分かった。
I mean, most criminals are. Like, the whole idea of a criminal typically is that they use, like, overstated strength to, strong arm things that they feel they cannot acquire on their own. I mean, sometimes it's led by desperation, sometimes it's led by genuine, genius. But most of the time, it's just desperate people trying desperate things to find desperate solutions to desperate problems, and it's all driven by fear. I don't think it's bad, per se. I think we're all cowards in a way, but, it's hard not to really feel for some criminals, because a lot of times their motivations aren't as simple as, I just want to be a bad guy. We always paint them like that, but, most of the time that's not the case. There are crimes that, it doesn't matter what their intentions are, they're still terrible, but, these guys, they've terrified some people, but they haven't killed anybody. They don't tend to kill anybody. And as far as criminals go, they definitely seem like they are here more out of a, they have a bit of, they have a reason for what they're doing. It makes me want to kind of understand what they're going for here.
これほどの騒ぎを起こしておきながら、一度決めたことを簡単に投げ出すとは。何やら、ただならぬ事情があるようだが、よほどの決意があってことを起こしたのであろう。簡単に引き下がれないという思いがあったのではないのか。
うるせえ。引き際がわからない奴はただのバカだ。
愚かな。引き際だと？
そうだ。それをわきまえてない奴の方がよっぽど愚かだ。
違う。逃げ道を残しているからこそ決意が揺らぎ迷うのだ。引き際などと聞こえの良い欺瞞はやめるがよい。 そなたたちは己の心に負けたに過ぎないのだ。そなたたちの生き様を見せてみよ。人質として私が見届けよう。
She's the worst hostage, but she's a fantastic, team builder.
ふざけるな。
勢いだけでこのようなことをしたのではなかろう。ならば、それを示すがよいぞ。
俺たちに死ねってことかよ。
なぜ死ぬと決めつける？そなたも先ほど言っていたであろう。
やったよ。すべてやったんだよ。自分たちのささやかな夢のためにすべてをやってきたんだ。
その結果がこれだ。俺たちは負けたんだよ。
すべてを投げ打っても一矢も報いることができなかった。
まだわからぬのか。敗北とは一矢を報いられなかったことでも夢がついえることでもない。すべてを諦めた己が心のありさまを指す言葉なのだ。
But what are they supposed to do? I really don't know.
犯罪を推奨するわけではないが、そなたたちは覚悟が足りないようだな。いや、よくはわからぬが、犯罪者らしくないと言うべきか。どこか不自然だ。そもそも、なぜこのような大それたことをしでかそうという気になったのだ。話してみるがよい。
何をだよ。
仇討ちめいたことが目的だと先ほど言っていたろう。私にはそれが気になるのだ。
俺たちの本当の目的は金庫の金を全部燃やすことだったんだ。
Interesting. Burn it.
なぜそのようなことを？
この金庫の中身の多くはここの支店長に騙された人たちの金なんだ。
どういうことか。
善意の融資の結果ってやつさ。
Oh yeah, looking at you auto loan sharks and like what are they? They're like the Quicken loans and all that stuff. You evil people.
今は銀行強盗なんてやってるけど、俺らだってまっとうに働いて暮らしていたんだよ。
俺らが住んでるのは自然の豊かな田舎の方の小さな村でな。俺はそこで乳製品を加工する工場を持っていて、まあ贅沢はできなかったけど十分に充実して幸せだって言える暮らしをしてたんだ。
仕事があって帰る家があって、そこに待っててくれる妻と子供がいる。
Dang.
たったそれだけだったけど。
You guys are willing to risk all of this with a family at home? That's ridiculous.
ずっと自分たちで工場を持つことを夢にしてきて、やっとたどり着いた場所だった。
まあささやかすぎる夢だけどな。
No, it's a worthy one.
夢に大きいも小さいもないであろう。
そうかい。
And the fact that you realize it's a wonderful thing regardless of what it might be. As someone struggling to attain her own dream, I have every respect for that.
ただ最近不況の煽りで受注が減って資金が回らなくなってきてな。
Fetch, man. It's a little real to our current situation for a lot of us, huh?
自分たちがどれだけ働いてもどうにもならないことがあるって現実にぶつかったんだ。
正直このまま工場を畳むことになるんだって思ったよ。まあその時は借金もなかったし出稼ぎにでも出ようと思っていた。帰る場所さえあれば頑張れるってな。最悪土地さえあれば食うに困らないくらいは自給自足でやっていける、そう思っていた。
俺も、いや村の連中はみんな同じ思いだったよ。
けどそこに救いの手が差し伸べられた。もう分かってると思うが、それがこの銀行さ。
Right.
融資の話を持ちかけてくれて、
目を疑うほどの好条件だった。銀行側からの再生プランも良心的で、 よかったんだ。
A really solid rule of thumb for any adulting you ever do. If it seems too good to be true, it is. Like, there's a catch. There always will be a catch. Nothing's free. Nothing comes with like somebody has to pay for it if there's a discount. Somebody has to be fronting an offset if it's a truly a good deal. You really need to be careful. Probably the only one I've ever come across that's not entirely that. In the United States, first-time homeowners or buyers can be guaranteed a really low interest rate for their first loan. It's a way for the government to try and kind of step in and kind of offers a partial guarantee on the loan that makes banks willing to negotiate better terms for those who are trying to get their foot in the door, per se, of a home. That's the most up and up I've ever seen, but that's because the government provides that guarantee. Like, without a legitimate thing like that there, like a safety net, then like that loan shark sounds like they just wanted whatever is the co-assignment for the loan, which would probably be the land.
それがなぜ？
支店長の口車に乗せられたんだよ。初めから工場を、いや、村そのものを乗っ取るつもりだったんだ。
Exactly. Anytime you have a loan that has a co-assignment, like that could be a trap. If you are not 100% like knowing you can keep up with those payments, you can be setting yourself up for like one of the worst reversals ever.
融資を受けてからの数ヶ月間は順調だったんだ。そろそろ返済に移行できるかもしれないって、そう思えるくらいにな。
Payments, they didn't start paying it.
けどよ。
引き返せないところまで来て、取引先の一方的な契約破棄。
That's insider business trading. That's not cool. So they used their insight to probably get an idea of like who their clients were, and then he worked with maybe a company he owned or a friend owned to undercut them. That's actually something that happened in my neighborhood recently. We have a garbage collection, right? Company we pay to take our recycling and our trash away for us. It's very nice. It saves me a lot of time, and it's not that expensive, all things considered. About a year and a half ago, I get a knock on the door. It's another company, different name, trash service. I guess they'd signed some kind of deal where they said like, hey, we'll kind of like keep out of your area, you keep out of our area. But I guess that expired. And their response to the expiration of that deal was to send in people door to door and offer them undercut deals to try and sweep out all of their contracts in the area. And like, to be fair, the deal was pretty good, but here's the thing, like, I didn't like how slimy it felt, you know? Like, if somebody coming in at my door saying like, hey, what do you, like, he effectively opened a dialogue saying like, hey, what do you pay for your garbage? And I was like, so much this. He's like, oh, well, we'll offer you the exact same like service, but for $25 cheaper. Like, whatever the number was, I said. And it rubbed me wrong, the way that approach worked. And so I said no. Like, yeah, it seemed weird to say that, but like, I just didn't feel right about it. Like, it felt slimy. And so I told them that I wasn't interested and asked them to leave. So we kept with our business, but almost everyone on my block switched. And then a few weeks later, somebody else came to the door from the same company. And they came to me and they said, hey, I noticed your trash cans are still this other company. I was wondering why you hadn't switched to us yet. And the arrogance in that was so just like, it curdled my stomach. I was like, there's just something so wrong about this. And I was like, well, no, they gave us good business and I wanted to stay with them. And he's like, okay, well, how much are they charging you? And I said, well, it's roughly this amount. Again, the same number. He's just like, well, we can do this one. He kind of repitched the same one. I was like, you know, I appreciate the offer, but I'm pretty happy with what we got. He's like, well, what if I did this? He offered me half off. Knocked another $25 or so off the price. So he immediately discounted from like a 25% off to 50% off in a sentence. And I was like, and whilst monetarily that makes sense, something inside me just clenched even more. And I was just like, no, I don't think so. And he's like, how about we do free for a year and then give you the 50% for the next 3 years? Monetarily makes perfect sense, but they seemed desperate to close all the contracts in the area for that company and for themselves. And again, something in me just hated that. I hated that tactic. I hated the underhandedness. This like idea of like extorting themselves, effectively like crippling their own like income, like the money they make, the revenue, in order to just secure the contracts, because contracts like garbage collection tend to be long term. People don't tend to like want to change that. They get into a rhythm and then they just deal with it, you know? Most people don't shop around. They just go for it. And it just felt weird. And I know I'm probably insane, but it just felt so, like I said, slimy and just so like evil, like this bank manager, dude. Like a move that was like, it felt like it was being calculated. And part of me thinks that they'd be happy to offer me this secure price, and then as soon as the contract was over, because again, this was all just not in paper or anything, this was just verbal. As soon as the contract kicked in, I imagine I'd see a price hike, you know? I imagine that things wouldn't stay that way, because that's not sustainable. They just wanted to make sure that their name was in here, maybe get the trucks from going around in this area and even providing services. That way they wouldn't have to worry about competition anymore. But I refused. I was like, screw, I actually got kind of mad. I was just like, you know what? I was like, you know what? No. If you're that desperate, I definitely don't want to work with you. Please don't come by me again. I will switch if I choose. I will. If I decide I want to have something different, I will look around. And he's just like, he actually looked at me, he's like, are you serious? Are you crazy? I was like, yeah, I'm crazy. And he's just like, whatever. Just rolled his eyes like and walked off. I don't care. I don't care. It boiled my blood the way he was handling it, the way he was behaving, and the way he treated me when I respectfully asked that he like leave me alone. So yeah, I pay more for my trash than my neighbors, but I feel like I was able to stand on my own ground and going with my gut. I feel a lot better for it. It's a weird story to be telling, but like it feels so similar to this. It's very strange.
それまで順調だと言っていたではないか。
そうだ。俺たちに落ち度はなかったし、向こうにも契約を打ち切る理由はなかったはずなんだ。
仲間の話じゃ、言いがかりに近い納品拒否もあったって。
別の取引先を探していろいろな場所に足を運んだ。けど、新しい契約は取り付けられなかった。
Yeah, it seems so calculating.
銀行への返済期限もあったしな。やれることはとことんやった。
そんな現状を見かねて、銀行から経営陣が派遣されてきた。立て直しを目的として。
And sadly, this works all the time. Like that's how Quicken loans, like those auto loans, like the quick loans, like where they're just or like pre-paycheck loans, any of those things, they're just scum. They're the scum of the earth because they use tactics like this for common people. They target poor people. They target people with unstable incomes. They target the most vulnerable, offering them quick fixes to their problems that they are genuinely facing, and often keeping them trapped in a debt loop that spirals them further and further into like just a pit of like of like depression and money and like locking them down in their debts rather than uplifting them like they're supposed to be, like they say they're doing. It's so vicious.
あの日のことは今でも忘れないな。
今じゃ嫁さんや娘とも離れ離れさ。
Are you serious?
どういうことだ。
奴らは就職斡旋を理由に、俺たちの嫁さんの仕事として遠くの工場を紹介してくれた。
And that can't be illegal.
労働条件は過酷らしい。賃金も安い。
情けないが、安かろうがなんだろうが、収入はそれしかない。前と違って今度は借金も背負っちまってるし。
別の就職口も探したが、これだけ借金があるとな。どこも雇っちゃくれない。
And that's the ultimate trap. You get so far down, you get so low, it becomes almost impossible to climb out of. Again, especially in the United States, there's a mentality that like, oh, if you just work hard, if you just work, you can get out of anything, and anybody can become rich, anybody can be successful. It's true to a point where technically anybody can become successful, but the majority of us will not in that regard. And a lot of people get sucked into these pre-built malicious like traps that are pretty much impossible to get out of. And even if they do, it's going to take like decades, and they're going to have anything at the end to show for it. They won't have property. They won't have like a retirement plan. They will be in their 60s with nothing to show for it, but a bunch of hopefully paid off debts and a future of working until they die. Like, so many people have to face that, and it sucks. Is it fair? Kind of. You know, I mean, you can argue that you get yourself in these situations by not paying attention, by not reading the fine print, by getting yourself sucked into like deals that are too good to be true. But like, it's also really crummy that people take advantage of, like, especially the poor, the downtrodden, the desperate. You know, playing off of their dreams and using that in order to fuel your own. It's disgusting. It's one of the reasons I'll never be rich, because I could never see myself ever getting to that point in life where I'd be willing to like undermine other people just to like make myself get ahead.
それで結局返済期限を守ることはできなかったんだ。
当たり前だ。守れないようにできてたんだからな。
担保にしていた工場、村の土地、牧場、全部持っていかれた。事実上村は全て銀行のものってわけだ。結局奴らのシナリオ通りだったってわけさ。融資を取り付けた後でできた取引先は銀行と同じ系列の企業だったんだ。
Yep.
時期を見て契約を破棄したわけか。
そうだ。嫁さんたちが連れて行かれた工場もそうなんだ。
バカだったよ。そこまでされて初めて気づいたんだから。
I wonder if this is going to be her family.
気づいた？
ああ。銀行は探してたんだよ。原発を建てる候補地を。反対運動でダメになった土地の代わりだよ。
そこで目をつけられたのが俺らの住んでる村だったんだ。
全てを奪い尽くし村から追放する。
これで原発の建設に反対する者も立ち退き料や保証をしなければならない住民もいなくなる。完璧な筋書きだよ。
It's interesting because this is echoing such a similar story from the alternative, like the unlimited and alternative line with the older woman who's in like the hot zone.
なるほど。そのようなことがあったのか。
今さら俺たちに取り戻せるものなんて少ないかもしれない。もしかしたらないかもしれねえ。でも
What's really sad is that their whole plan of burning the money in the bank's insured. It's going to be dropping the bucket from the resources that they have. They'll get a payout from the insurance and the government. They're going to be able to see these people put to justice. They'll seem like they're justified, and it actually will help them in the end.
せめて家族だけは取り戻したいんだ。
どんなことをしてもな。ここにいるみんながそう思ってこんなことを始めたんだよ。
Take back your families, huh? Their means are still indefensible, but it seems their convictions are just. I can feel the sincerity of their intent from that look in their eyes, and a ferocious glint that reflects the fire of their hearts.
そなたたちの言い分は分かった。
I can see what their intended desire to reclaim what they hold dear. One's family is irreplaceable, and I can tell these men love theirs unconditionally. No one should be allowed to spit in the face of that.
いけませんね。自分の思い通りにならないからといって犯罪を犯すのは。
The bank manager? He's literally here. Why would he come in with the SWAT team? That makes no sense. But I like how he's like the epitome of sleaze. Ugh.
てめえは
実に困った人たちですな。逆恨みもいいところです。
何者だ。
こいつがここの支店長だ。
借りたお金は返すのが当たり前。返せなければ別のもので返していただくしかないでしょう。
てめえわざわざぶっ殺されに来たのか。
ご紹介が遅れました。当銀行の 施設警備部隊です。
Right, because of course, private security makes so much sense when they can have freaking tactical gear.
施設警備部隊。この者たちは警察ではないのか。
ここのところ世の中物騒でいけません。あなた
てめ
Oh,
え
clicked too fast, but I don't really care. He was annoying me.
いやいや、しかしあなた方には本当に感謝しなくてはなりませんな。
Right.
何
これほどまで簡単に私どもの思惑通りにことが運ぶとは。
なんだと。
お気の毒に。もともと契約書すらまともに読めない方々ですから。しか
なんだとてめえ。
その上こちらが用意した偽情報を信じてまんまと罠に飛び込んでくるのですか。
なんだと。それじゃあ今日金庫が開くとかいう話は。
Makes sense.
はい、すべてこちらで流した情報です。
くそー。
あ、何、私どもの善意を逆恨みして過激な行動をとるあなた方のような方々をあぶり出すためのいわば
なんてこった。
おとなしく諦めていれば手荒な真似はしなくて済んだのですが、残念です。非常に残念です。それではそんな頭の不自由なあなた方にこの先のシナリオを教えて差し上げましょう。
Appear to be a scum right here.
何、これも当銀行のモットーである顧客サービスです。はい。当銀行は人質の生命と安全を確保するために自衛的行動をとる。そしてあなた方は人質を殺害し
I know he's
激し
flatly.
く抵抗する。
He's flat out gonna be like, in order to try and spin the narrative in his way, he's willing to kill her.
人質を殺害って
やむを得ず正当防衛で我々は犯人を射殺。どうです？
And I like how they're moving to protect her. Man, that's cool.
くそこうなったら。
大体の事情は分かった。下がっているがよいぞ。
あんた。
お気の毒ですがお嬢さん、あなたはこの方たちに殺されてしまうという
I don't think you understand.
諦めてください。
Oh, this guy's going down.
つくよみ。どうせ近くに控えておるのであろう。
誰ですかその方は。
Yes! And where are the idiots? The idiots have got to be here somewhere.
は、恐れながら言いつけに背きまして。
よい。ところでこの者の話だが、
この銀行における常習的な違法行為は明白です。すでに数々の証拠は抑えました。現在余罪を調査いたしております。
Yeah, unfortunately, sir, while these guys are a drop in the bucket in the manager's pocket, he's a drop in the bucket compared to the Mitsurugi family.
まあいいでしょう。殺害される人質が一人増えただけのことです。
I like how these guys are like in permanent like squat mode. Like I'm guessing they're just using an older resource or something. And it just doesn't look like intimidating. It just looks like, first of all, that their legs are way too big for their bodies, and then secondly, they all have just severe constipation.
付け加えまして、先ほどからの支店長の言はすべて記録してございます。
Excellent.
さすがつくよみ。いつもながら見事な手際だ。
Tsukiyomi is the best.
あなた方は人の話を聞いているのですか。
下がっておれよつくよみ。そなたは手を出すでない。
おいあんた
ねあくまで無視するおつもりですか。
Careful, manager. You're about to vibrate out of existence.
いいでしょう。最初に殺されるのは人質です。 さようなら。お嬢さん。
悪く思うなよ。これも仕事だ。
Coldly murdering an innocent person. Just a job. Wait, where'd the sword come from? Where was she keeping that?
あなたは一体杖何者なんだ。
She's freaking awesome, that's who she is.
あのお方は三剣メイヤ様でございます。
三剣メイヤ。
三剣財閥の次期当主となられるお方です。
He's like, oh no, oh no.
私がこの場にいる以上、無益な殺生はまかりならぬ。
三剣。三剣財閥のご令嬢。
Yeah, son, you're in trouble now.
家のことなどどうでもよい。支店長とやら、兵を引き、素直に法の裁きを受けるならばよし。さもなくば、三剣の名において、そなたの下道、捨ておくわけにはいかん。
Give up now, man. Just give it up.
お黙りなさい。
Cool.
そのようなお方がこんなところにいるわけがありません。三剣を語る詐欺師め。
Oh, you poor sad man.
おい、いくらあの人が強いって言ったからってあの人数じゃ。
助けなくていいのかよ。
はい。控えていろとの仰せですので。
Where'd he get the helmet?
三剣だかなんだか知らないが、これだけの圧倒的な力の差では
No,
手
you
も足も出ませんね。
a fool. You unleashed the power of Best Girl.
どうしました。黙ってしまって怖くなりましたか。さっきまでの勢いはどうしました。私を裁くようなことを言ってましたが、所詮無力な存在は力あるものを罰するなどできません。
Oh, you fool.
哀れな。
Yes.
そのようなものが力であると信じているのか。
ああ、
そのような力で人の心を、人の思いをくじくことなど断じてできん。
It would be really cringy, but she can back up her words 110%, so it's awesome.
まだそのようなたわごとを。
三剣の名において警告する。鬼の道を表す者は我がミナルカムイの露と消えようぞ。
構いません。やっておしまいなさい。撃て
There she goes. It's impossible, but it's amazing. We wield the blade to not further our interests, but to protect the powerless. Credo, the Mugen Keto Masters. Yes, yes. Oh, God, I think we've got to do background.
すげえ。
She keeping the sword.
無限機動流剣術が一。いざよい。すべて峰打ち。お見事です。
Mm-hmm. Yeah, freak out then, run. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so happy.
本当の力というもの、そなたの身をもって知るがよい。
She gonna break the steel? Yes! That's terrifying.
金庫が。
人の心や思いをくじくのは力ではない。己が心の内にある弱さがくじくのだ。
Wonder if she got out of her ropes.
故に心の内が強くあればよいのだ。さすれば力などに頼ることもあるまい。
Yo, you run, boy, run.
ああ、そなたたち、怪我はないか？
I feel like your guns are a little useless at this point.
大丈夫だ。
あんた、すげえな。
いや、そんなことより、人質の作法をないがしろにしてすまなかった。許すがよい。
That was a bad time to take a drink. Hostage etiquette. Sorry.
別にいいんだよ、そんなこと。それより、俺たち、このまま自首するよ。
Oh yeah, probably for the best. Now that we've got all the evidence we need to prove that you're innocent, it's probably fine. Plus, you didn't actually kill anybody.
そうか。
なんだかんだ言って、俺たちがやったことは犯罪だ。どのみち許されるもんじゃない。
あんたが言う通り、俺たちも心が弱かった。だから付け入られたし、こいつらみたいに力で解決しようとしちまった。
これからは心を強く、信念を持って生きていくように努力していこうと思うんだ。
そうだな。私も常にそうありたいと思っている。
だからまず、自分のやったことの責任を取らなきゃな。
そうか。ところでつくよみ、この者たちの今後についてだが。
ご家族の保護と弁護士の手配、融資の切り替え、その他すべて、三剣ユーロが責任を持って実行いたしますよう、すでに手配済みでございます。
Aww, that's awesome. And they're not, look at, they're not conversion of their loans. I'm guessing that means they're not going to wipe out the loans. They're going to buy their loans, which is something that happens all the time. And then they can probably make arrangements for reasonable payback. You know, like not letting them off the hook, not just giving them a free pass, but giving them a chance to be able to do it in the proper way with good terms that are reasonable and effective.
さすがつくよみ。聞いての通りだ。よかったな。
あんた。
メイヤ様、専用機離陸の時間が迫っております。外に空港までの足を待たせてございますので、お急ぎを。
うん。では皆の者、達者で暮らすがよい。
Oh man, you're the best. Aww.
待ってくれ。あんたのこと、この恩は一生忘れない。
Why are people cheering?
よい。そんなことより、一刻も早く奥方たちのもとへ行ってやるがよいぞ。
あ。
そしてしかるべき後、相応の罪を償うがよい。そなたたちの貢献は三剣が預かる。
本当にありがとう。なんて礼を言ったらいいのか。
いろいろしてもらった上に、情けないが生き様まで教えられちまって。
Feels good.
礼などよい。こたびの件で私もそなたたちにいろいろと教えてもらったからな。
え？
何の迷いもなく愛しいものを思う一途で強い心、しかと見せてもらった。今度は私の番だ。
あんたの番？
そうだ。私にも迎えに行くべき者がいるのだ。
恋人かい？
いや、我が夫となるべき男だ。
In my universe, yes. Okay, that was genuinely amazing. It was mind-blowingly stupid at times, but it was also freaking amazing in so many ways. Come on, okay. Can you not understand why she's best girl? And you don't have to be your best girl. I'm not trying to start a rumble, but I'm saying, come on, that's a compelling argument, right? Dang, it's so fun. I can't believe we're gonna get 2 of those. This is a freaking long episode. That's okay, because that was just perfect in every way. And I'm curious, I wonder what the next one's gonna be. Is it like during the events of Extra, or is it post-Extra? I'm guessing not. But it'd be fun to see post-Extra with her ending. Like, that would be really interesting to see. I always wonder what it'd be like to see Takaru trying to, like, prepare himself to be, like, the inheritor of the Mitsurugi like fortune. Like it'd be really interesting to see what kind of training he went through and like the kind of man he became in that path. But I don't know if it's going to explore that very much, so I'll have to see. But it'd definitely be something I'm interested in going to. Anyway, yes, again, thank you. All the people who kickstarted this. I wish I was able to be a part of that, but it was all over by the time I even knew Muv-Luv existed, so thank you for all of them, and all, of course, I'll say it every time I see the Kickstarter lists. But, yeah. To be continued. Ooh. Yes. In the next part, which will be next week. So thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. I hope you've enjoyed Learning to Love, which was amazing. I think it's already my favorite part of this game and like short stories so far, but I'm guessing Alternative will have something to carry my heart away, because Alternative always seems to have the bigger punches in the gut, but this was a pleasant surprise. I'm very happy I got to read this. Yeah, so if you had any thoughts about that, I shared a lot of very interesting stuff there, so do you have any comments about like what I said? I'd be really interested to hear, especially today, because there's a lot of more nebulous concepts I talked about, so I'd be curious to know what you thought about them. But as always, I'm just happy to hear from you at all. Thank you so much for enjoying this video. I hope you look forward to next week. Keep an eye out. We're doing more Steins Gate and our Fitting Ground on Wednesdays, and we have Jisei, which is kind of a new short drama mystery story that I've been covering on my Friday slot while I'm waiting for like the return of Jingosh and Dosh to come back. So check that out. It was really interesting so far, well compelling, and just kind of a labor of love, it seems like. So I highly recommend you check it out. Plus all the other good stuff I got in the libraries if you haven't, if you're finding it got a lot of time and haven't seen all this stuff yet. But I appreciate it. And until next video, watching me, I'll see me next. I'll see you there.